to our open forum now. USEC Roque.
Yes, good afternoon, Secretary Roque. A question from Jason Gutierrez of the New York Times on Sina's appointment. Does this mean the administrative case filed against him is no longer going to be pursued? I know you said earlier you don't think so. So a PNP chief can be appointed despite not being cleared of controversies.
Well, unang-una po, no, uulitin ko lang yung sinabi ni Secretary Anyo, no. Yung importanteng kaso po talaga dyan ay yung kasong kriminal. Yan po ay nakabinbin pa rin sa tanggapan ng City Prosecutor ng Taguig. At dahil dito, ibig sabihin nito, wala pa pong kasong kriminal si Chief Sinyas, no. So, pagdating po sa administrative, well, yan naman po ay nandyan pa rin. Hindi naman po yan na-dismiss, no? But the appointment, of course, will have no bearing on the decision of the Taguig Prosecutor's Office.
Question from Chris Jose of Remate. Naglunsad po ang PNP ng panibagong fitness program para protektahan ang kalusugan ng mga pulis sa gitna ng pandemya. Sinabi ni outgoing PNP Chief Cascola na layo ng programa na mabawasan ang epekto ng quarantine na idinulot ng COVID-19 pandemic, lalo na sa kanilang mga katawan. Dito po sa Malacanang, kayong mga miyembro ng gabinete ng Pangulo, lalo na si Pangulong Duterte, na sobra pong nakasubsob ang atensyon at panahon sa mga nangyari sa bansa. Ano po ang ginagawa nyo para mabawasan ang epekto ng pandemya na bitbit ng COVID-19?
Ang alam ko po, si Presidente, meron siyang, ano tawag doon sa machine na yon, sa pagtakbo? Meron po siyang treadmill, no? At alam ko po, halos araw-araw naman po nagte-treadmill ang ating Presidente. Ako naman po, 5 days a week, ako po I don't look it, pero nagpupunta sa gym mula na nagbukas ang gym. At sana po, dumating ang panahon na magkaroon naman ng resulta yan sa aking itsura. No? So, I think the message is, para labanan po ang pandemya, importante pa rin ang health promotions, importante po na tayo manatiling malusog, at ang isang paraan para maiwasan ang COVID ay hindi lang po mask, hugas at iwas, kundi manatili tayong malusog, magkaroon ng regular exercise, kumain ng tama, sapat na tulog. Punta naman tayo kay Joyce Balancio, please.
Good afternoon, Secretary Roque. Just a follow-up dun sa naging meeting ni Pangulong Duterte with immigration officials. Parang hindi pa nabanggit na kasama dito si BI Commissioner Jaime Morente.
Yes, I stand corrected. Yes, I omitted the Commissioner Morente. Of course, he was in the meeting, yes.
Okay. Does he still enjoy the full trust and confidence of the President knowing na ganito karami yung mga sinasabing sangkot sa Pastillas scheme under his watch?
Alam niyo naman po ang rule, all presidential appointees serve at the pleasure of the President. Pag wala na pong tiwala, hindi na po sila maninilbihan.
Ano po yung particular na utos niya kay Jaime Morente at that time?
Wala po akong narinig na utos other than matapos po niyang ipadistribute yung pastillas, nagkaroon nga po ng pangaral si Presidente na dapat talagang matigil ang korupsyon, no? Hindi lang po sa CID kundi sa buong gobyerno.
Wala naman pong plano si President Duterte to replace Commissioner Morente given na ganito po yung nakikita niyang scale of corruption under the Bureau of Immigration.
I have no information on that as of yet.
On a different topic, Secretary Roque, the Office of the Solicitor General filed a petition before the Supreme Court asking Associate Justice Marvin Tionen to inhibit himself from the election protest filed by former Senator Bongbong Marcos. Now, as a government lawyer, si Solgen, ano po ang state interest dyan sa election protest ni Senator Bongbong Marcos at bakit po kailangan na mag-medal ang Solgen?
Well, sa batas po na bumuo ng Office of the Solicitor General, they're actually counsels for the people, no? And I suppose ang motion had to be filed because it is the interest of our people na malaman natin kung sino talagang nagwagi sa eleksyon para sa Vice Presidente.
Did he ask approval first from President Duterte before he filed that petition?
Hindi naman po ganun ang ating Presidente. He does not micromanage. Hinahayaan po niya ang kanyang mga gabinete na bigyan ng atensyon at umakto sa mga bagay-bagay na nasa ilalim na kanilang mga ahensya. Thank you very much, Joyce. We go to USEC Roque again.
Okay. Secretary, question from Rosalie Cos of UNTV regarding po sa mga produkto na nai-introduce sa market like air purifiers, yung HEPA filters, and those claiming COVID virus killers. Gumagamit ba kayo nito at napag-usapan na ba ito sa meeting ng IATF?
Well, ang air purifiers po, bagamat merong maraming gumagamit at ako po mismo gumagamit yan, hindi po yan napag-usapan sa IATF. Pero yung HEPA filters na pag-usapan na po at kasama po siya no doon sa mga health standards na sinusulong natin, no.
Second question po niya, pwede ba itong gawin mandatory ng IATF sa mga places of convergence, government and private offices and transportation?
Alam ko nga po sinusulong yung paggamit ng HEPA filters, no. Pero lilinawin ko po kung ito ay magiging mandatory o recommendatory. I will clear this up po and I will on Thursday I will have an answer. Yes, punta naman tayo kay Trish at Terada, please.
Hi, good afternoon, Secretary. Sir, doon pa rin po sa issue ng Pastillas scam. So how does the President intend to fix corruption in the Immigration Bureau? Kasi medyo matagal na po ito and it's been years and it still remains unsolved. Now, aside from investigating and firing erring officials or personnel, ano po yung drastic measures that we can expect that the President will do to really fix corruption in general?
Well, alam niyo naman po, no, as President, and because of the separation of powers ng executive and judicial branch of government, the most that the President can impose by way of penalty is to remove them from service, no. At yan naman po nangyayari, remove them from the service or impose suspension on them. At yan naman po ang nangyari dito sa 40 katao sa CID.
So sir, ano po yung pwede niya maging appeal or nag-appeal, ongoing appeal sa ating Congress so that it can help him solve corruption? Kasi di ba po, yun nga po yung trust niya for the remaining 2 years in his office.
Well, pagdating po sa CIDs, isa sa minungkahi nga po ni Secretary Guevara ay yung pagsasabatas ng panukalang batas na nag-update po at nagmo-modernize ng batas na bumuo sa CID dahil Commonwealth Act pa po yan. Pero pagdating po sa corruption in general, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Kaya nga po pinupukpok din ng Presidente ang pagtanggal ng red tape dahil as Gunnar Myrdal, Nobel Prize awardee, said, no, discretion is the source of corruption. So kinakailangan sa pagtakbo ng gobyerno, alisin natin yung mga discretion ng taong gobyerno nang sa ganon wala nang pagkakataon na magkaroon ng korupsyon. At syempre po, yung mga ginagawa ngayon ni Presidente na talagang sinusulong ang mga kaso laban sa mga korap na mga opisyales ay mensahe sa lahat, no, na kung gusto ninyong yumaman at kung gusto ninyong kumita bukod pa sa sweldo sa gobyerno, huwag kayong magtrabaho sa gobyerno, sa pribadong sektor kayo magtrabaho.
Secretary, si Chief Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo in his program said that admin allies must ensure that the President's successor will continue what he started. And he said that the best person to take that place or to take on the presidency is the President's daughter, si Mayor Inday Sara. He also raised the idea of having the President as her Vice President if ever. Ano pong tingin ng Malacanang dito?
Well, that's the personal opinion of Secretary Panelo and we respect his opinion.
Sir, last yung Sinovac trials in Brazil has been stopped noting serious adverse effects. How will this affect our search for the vaccine?
Well, hindi lang naman po Sinovac ang ating inaasahan, no? Meron pong Sinopharm, meron pang isang bakuna sa China, meron pong Pfizer, merong Moderna, merong AstraZeneca, no? So we're hoping na yung higit kumulang 10 mga bakunang dinedevelop, at least ilan sa kanila ay makakapasa ng third clinical phase of trial.
Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you very much, Trish. Balik tayo kay USEC Roque. USEC Roque?
Yes. Secretary, tanong po mula kay Rose Novenario ng Hataw, ang online sabong ba ay legal at pinapayagan na? Kung illegal pa po, bakit namamayagpag na at hindi mapatigil ng mga otoridad?
Hindi po legal ang online sabong. Ang huling balita ko po, si Chairman Andrea Domingo, humingi na po ng tulong sa NBI para nga po mapasara itong mga nagpapatakbo ng online sabong.
Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you po. Si Melo Acuña, please.
Good afternoon, Secretary. Magandang hapon po.
Magandang hapon
Tanong
po.
lang, ano po ang masasabi ng Malacanang? Meron pong ginagawa ang Metro Manila Development Authority na isarado yung lahat ng U-turn slots along EDSA, which will cause heavier traffic and more gas consumption. Ano po kaya ang pwedeng gawin dito?
Well, tiwala naman po kami na kung ano yung naging desisyon ng MMDA ay napag-aralan po yan. As I said, hindi naman po micromanager ang ating presidente. Let's give it a try. Kung ito naman po ay talagang hindi gagana, pwede naman po itigilin ng MMDA. But meanwhile, we ask for everyone's cooperation. Kasi patuloy talaga tayo naghahanap ng solusyon dito sa problema ng traffic.
Yeah. Thank you, Secretary. Ano po ang update doon sa mga nawawalang SAP ng mga barangay residents? I referred a case to you yesterday.
Apo.
What is the SOP para makuha kung saan naroon ang problema?
Yan naman po ay pinagbigay alam ko na sa Department of Social Work and Development. No? Ang ginawa lang po talaga ay tinanggal yung mga double entries sa mga SAP beneficiaries. So hindi po dapat mawala, kung ikaw ay entitled to SAP, hindi dapat mawala yung pangalan mo. No? Ang mawawala lang po dyan sa second SAP ay yung mga lugar na hindi na po nasa ilalim ng ECQ noong mga panahon na yon, no? So siyempre po kung hindi na sila ECQ, talaga mawawala rin sila, no? So yun lang po, tignan po natin kung ano yung naging classification at kung talagang dapat naman po ay hindi sila nawala, ipagbigay alam po natin sa nearest office po ng DSWD.
Yeah. Thank you. Pahabol na lang po, ano po kaya ang masasabi ng Malacanang doon sa gang wars na may mga namatay na sa NBP? Ano po ang guidance ng Pangulo kay Justice Secretary Guevara?
Well, hindi naman po kinakailangan bigyan pa ng guidance si Secretary Guevara. On his own, he has initiated an investigation. At syempre po, no, hindi naman tayo makakakomento kung hindi natin nalalaman ang punot dulo ng insidente ito. So let's allow the investigation to proceed. And I'm sure Secretary Guevara will act accordingly after the investigation.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day, Secretary.
Thank you, Melo. Punta na tayo uli kay USEC Roque.
Question from Maricel Halili of TV5. Although nasabi niyo na po ito about sa Pastillas controversy, what did the President tell them?
Yun nga po, nagbigay po ng pangaral ang Presidente kung na talagang dapat matigil itong korupsyon nito. No? At yung kanyang pagbibigay naman ng pastillas, that's also symbolic of his anger against corruption. Pero gaya ng aking sinabi, hindi naman po niya pinilit. Pero I think the message has been received kasi not a single person out of the 40 individuals there uttered even a single word.
From question mula kay Tuesday New ng DCBB, ano po ang mood ng Pangulo? Galit po ba, kalmado o nanermon? At paano daw po nagtapos ang meeting kagabi sa mga pastillas, kasama sa pastillas controversy?
Well, ang balita ko po, kalmado naman po ang Presidente because he came from the oath-taking of Speaker Velasco, no, and another person, no, I can't remember now the name. Pero dalawa po sila nag-oath-taking at nagtapos naman po si Presidente, matapos niyang pangaralan ay sabi niya, you're dismissed, pero Secretary Guevara construed that as you can leave the room. Not necessarily dismissed from the service kasi syempre po nagpapatuloy yung proseso, no, na administratibo to determine kung dapat nga silang matanggal once and for all from the service.
Thank you, Secretary.
Yes, punta naman tayo kay Mela Lesmoras.
Opo, hi, good afternoon, Secretary.
Yes.
Tatanong ko lang po. First, about COVID-19, mamaya po, sir, can you confirm na may IATF meeting muli si Pangulong Duterte at may public address po ba? Ano-ano po kaya, sir, yung mga tatalakayin mamaya?
Well, kino-confirm ko po na merong pagpupulong si Presidente sa ilang miyembro ng IATF mamaya at yung kanyang nakaugalian ng Talk to the People ay mangyayari rin po mamaya.
Opo. And sir, sa ibang topic naman po, ito isa sa mga inaabangan ng ating mga government workers. According to salary standardization po kasi tuwing November, matatanggap dapat ng mga government workers ang kanilang year-end bonus. May update po ba tayo dito? At bukod dito, nagpaplano po kaya si President na magbigay pa ng iba pang additional bonus sa ating mga government workers?
Ang alam ko po, dahil yan po ay nasa batas, kinakailangan maibigay po yan at yan naman po ay napaloob na o kasama doon sa 2020 budget na inapruban ng Kongreso. So wala pong dahilan para hindi matanggap ng ating mga taong gobyerno ang kanilang Christmas pay. No?
Opo. And Spokes, may last question lang po. Just for the sake of transparency, ang mga government officials po ba ay nakakatanggap din ng Christmas bonus? And if ever, dahil sa sunod-sunod na kalamidad, may COVID-19 pandemic, willing po kaya ang Pangulo or ang gabinete na mag-donate ng kanilang matatanggap na bonus sa ating mga kababayan?
Well, una po, we get whatever every other government official gets. No? If it's a 13-month pay, it's a 13-month pay. As to whether or not magdo-donate po ang mga miyembro ng gabinete, kanya-kanya po yan. Ako po kahapon nag-donate ako ng 1 month to a divinity school, no, to support poor but deserving students of theology. No? So, sa akin po, it's voluntary. Yung aking 1 month, nabigay ko na po kahapon.
Okay. Thank you so much po, Secretary.
Thank you, Mela. USEC Roque, please.
Yes, a question mula kay MJ Blanca Flor of Daily Tribune. Yung first question niya, nasagot niyo na po na about Pastillas scam. May we get palace reaction on PSA report that our GDP contracted by 11.5% in the third quarter of 2020?
Siyempre po, yan ay malungkot pa rin balita, pero yan po ay improvement doon sa 16.5 na pagbaba ng ating ekonomiya nung second quarter. So kung meron po kayong, ewan ko kung makikita natin itong graph na ito, ay so nagre-recover na po ang ating ekonomiya from an all-time low of 16.9, I stand corrected, 16.9 pala yung contraction nating ekonomiya, ay ngayon po naging negative 11.5. So bahagyang umangat na po ang ating ekonomiya. Nagpapatunay po that the worst is over. Pero kaya naman po nangyari ito kasi nga po nag-MECQ na naman tayo sa Metro Manila at ilang mga probinsya sa Calabarzon at dito po nanggagaling talaga ang 60% ng ating GDP. So ang mensahe po natin, nandyan pa po si COVID. Pero alam na natin po kung paano maiwasan si COVID. Kinakailangan na po talagang buksan ng ekonomiya. Pero kinakailangan po mask, hugas, iwas, at pagsasakay naman po tayo ng pampublikong transportasyon. Kasi paano naman makapagtrabaho ang ating mga kababayan kung kulang ang transportasyon? Kinakailangan sundin natin yung 7 commandments sa pagsakay ng public transportation. Ano itong 7 commandments? Mask. Kinakailangan may mask. Dapat merong face shield. Dapat walang usapan. Walang kainan. Kinakailangan frequent disinfection. 1 seat apart at kinakailangan siyempre po walang symptomatic na sasakay ng public transportation.
Yung second question po niya, will the President address the nation tonight and will the IATF discuss the proposal to ban in-person caroling during the meeting later in the day?
Well, mamayang gabi po yung meeting ng ilang mga miyembro ng IATF kay Presidente. Ang next meeting ng IATF ay today po, hindi, Thursday. So, ako na po siguro magtatanong kasi palaging lumalabas po yan sa balita, no? At marami na pong mga lokal na opisyales na nagbaban, no? Ang Manila at Quezon City nagbana po ng caroling. So, tatanungin ko na rin po sa IATF para maging uniform po yung rules.
Thank you, Secretary.
Okay, Joseph Morong, please.
Hi, sir. Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, sir. Sa Pastillas scheme lang, can you provide us more details? So may nakaroll na pera doon sa Pastillas. Magkano yun, sir? At ano bang ginawa ng mga taga-BI? Tinanggap ba nila yan? Binuksan ba nila yan? Kinain ba nila yan? And then if they did not, what happened to the money? And then what? Yun muna, sir.
Alam mo, tanong din yan ni Director Ting, no? Kaya lang, hindi na po nalaman, kasi ang kinuusap ko naman dito si Secretary Maynard Guevara, hindi na po nalaman kung magkano kasi wala naman doon sa 40 nagbukas ng pastillas. Hinawakan lang nila lahat, no? So, that's why we will not know kung magkano. Titignan ko kung may natira po, para kukunin ko yung pastillas, tatanggalin ko yung pera, bubulsa ko. Pero anyway, titignan ko po kung malaman natin yung meron pang natira. Baka naman eksakto lang po yung 40 pastillas para doon sa nag-attend, no? Pero hindi na po natin nalaman kasi hindi po binuksan ng mga nag-attend ng pulong na yan.
Ang sabi ni SOJ, wala naman niya, walang kumain, walang nagbukas. So, naiwan siguro malamang sa palasyo yung pera. What happened to the money and where did that come from?
Hindi ko
If
po
it's
alam
just
kung
maybe
naiwan ang pera, no? Baka na mainuwi nila as reminder doon sa paalala ni Presidente na itigil ang korupsyon.
Sir, okay, game. What does the President hope to show by doing this? Kasi for
Ay, teka
some,
muna ha, baka
parang
mamaya,
medyo-
wait, Joseph, baka ako ma-misquote ha. Ang kakainin ko at ibubulsa ko yung pastillas. Hindi pera. Yes, proceed with your next question,
Bahala
please.
ka sa clarification mo na yan.
Okay,
Anyway,
please.
so now, what does the President hope to achieve by demonstrating yung ganyan, napapakainin niya and whatever, no? Because for some people, parang, I think a classmate who all you also know, parang performative democracy na parang for show lang yan. Answer that criticism, sir.
Well, I don't think there is anything na for show lang. The President is sending a message. Itigil ang korupsyon. At nung ginawa po niya, I think lahat po ng taong gobyerno narinig ang mensahe. Kaya nga po ang pakiusap, kung gusto nyong yumaman, huwag kayong magtrabaho sa gobyerno, magtrabaho kayo sa pribado. Dahil talagang sa susunod na 2 taon, hindi po tatantanan ng Presidente ang mga korap. That is the message. And that is a message very well received.
Sir, saan galing yung binilit ng mga pera?
Hindi ko alam. Ikaw naman talaga, oh.
Well,
Ang gusto ko nga kainin yung pastillas eh. Nagugutom na
So,
tuloy
sir-
ako dahil sa pastillas mo. Okay?
okay, I think the proof of the pudding is in the eating, no? If the President is serious about running after corrupt people, ang status itong 40, sir, to na 40. And can we get the list of names later? But going back to my question, kung 40 ito, ang status ng mga ito, dismissed from service, correct?
Hindi
And
ko po alam.
undergoing
What I do know is all of them have been suspended.
suspended.
Oo, pero hindi pa ata dismissed, no? And yes, I
Okay,
will give
okay.
you the names of these 40 on the basis of the guest list that entered Malacanang.
And how much corruption are we talking about in this scheme, yung Pastillas scheme?
Hindi ko po ma-quantify as of now. I know only as much as I heard from the Senate hearings, no? Pero I think it will be billions, no? Kasi kung i-compute mo yung mga dayuhan na pumasok at kung sila nagbayad ng a certain amount, malaki-laki po yung suma total na pinag-uusapan natin.
Okay, so just last two, very short. Pfizer, if they get an emergency use license, will be procure at once or FDA? Second question, may bago ba sir NCRPO?
Well, on your first question, palagi po natin pinag-uusapan yan. It will be subjected to literature review. Bagamat, meron po talaga tayong rule na kapag na-approve, lalong-lalo na ng US FDA, at alam ko, hindi talaga siya uniform. No? Talagang we give a premium on the US FDA. That is very convincing as far as the Philippine FDA is concerned. But what I'm saying is, there will be some literature review, but we also have the rule na pag na-approve na ng US FDA, European FDA, it's almost, it will not take time before we approve also the emergency use of this vaccine. No? And on the last one, your last question is, any update
The
on?
NCRPO.
Wala pa po akong impormasyon dyan. So pag meron naman po, isa sa publiko na natin.
Sir,
I think
clarification
mamayang
lang, ha?
hapon
If
pa lang
the-
yung turnover is this afternoon.
Correct, sir.
Oo.
Sir, isa lang yung sa Pfizer. So pag meron doon na emergency use, we can also use the Pfizer vaccine on an emergency basis here.
Yes, but it's not automatic. Kahit pa paano,
Okay,
magkakaroon ng
okay.
some review yan.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. But back to you, USEC Roque. Thank you, Joseph.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Question from Virgil Lopez of GMA News Online. Yung first question po niya about Pastillas scheme pa rin. Ang second question niya, some private clinics have reportedly ignored PhilHealth's policy that there is no limit to dialysis sessions chargeable to the state insurer during a state calamity. What can Malacanang do about this?
Well, totoo naman po na there is no such thing as there is no limit. Kahit saan po tayo pumunta, merong limit naman. No? Pero gaya na aking sinabi kanina, mamaya bukas pa ipopropose ni Attorney Giran na magbigay ng up to 133 instead of just 90. At saka yung mabuting balita na for dialysis patients, magbibigay po ng 10,000 pesos ang PCSO.
Opo. Last question mula po kay Tina Mendez ng Philippine Star. Can we please know details of meeting between President Duterte and Senator Marcos? When did it happen and what's their agenda?
Wala po sa schedule na natatanggap ko ang meeting kay Senator Marcos, but I could be wrong, I could clarify, no? Pero nakakatanggap naman po ako ng calendar, pero dati-rati po private meeting lang, but I've since requested na at least yung guest list malaman natin, at hindi ko pa po nakita ang pangalan ni Senator Marcos, but I will check po with the appointments office.
Thank you, Secretary.
Yes, thank you. Pia Renada, please.
Hello. Hi, sir.
Yes.
Sir, 3 questions, sir. First, on the Pastillas meeting last night, yung with the BI. Sir, you were speaking of the president sending a message during that meeting. So, sir, what message does it send when the president just casually gives out money to government personnel suspected of corruption?
He did not casually give out money. He was sending a message na he will not tolerate corruption, and that is why his instruction was eat the money. Okay? So it's not casually giving money. No? He did not insist that they actually physically eat it out of deference to the presence of Secretary Guevara, but I think the message has been received not just by the 40 who attended the meeting, but by all in government.
But sir, if it wasn't casual, sir, saan yung accounting ng pera? Why don't we know where it came from? Why don't we know how much was inside the pastillas?
Hindi ko po alam kasi hindi nga nabuksan so hindi nakita ni Secretary Guevara, who is my informant on this meeting, no, kung magkano yan.
Okay, sir, second question. Does the palace think that Solicitor General Calido's support for Bongbong Marcos during the 2016 elections affect his motivations in filing a motion for Supreme Court Justice Leonen to inhibit from the VP electoral protest case?
Let's just say that the matter of inhibition is now left to not just Justice Leonen, but to the court itself. I will not
Sir,
comment
kasi
on that.
Solicitor General Calido is accusing SC Justice Leonen of bias, but is it also then proper for Calido, who publicly supported Bongbong Marcos, to file this kind of case?
As I said, he is the statutory counsel for the government, and as statutory counsel, he has an interest in knowing who legally won in the vice presidential election, or we have an interest as a nation to find out if there is merit in fact in that election protest.
Sir, lastly, President-elect Joe Biden has said that he plans to hold the 2021 Global Democracy Summit, where he wants to confront authoritarianism and attacks on democratic freedoms like press freedom. Sir, what does the palace think of this planned summit, and is the president likely to attend if he's invited?
We have no opinion on that po, because that's a statement of President-elect Biden. That's his prerogative to say whatever he wants. But as far as Malacanang is concerned, we know what our national interests are. We will stand by our national interests. We will maintain our traditional friendship with the United States, and we hope that this relationship will become stronger.
As a democracy, sir, in Asia, do you think the Philippines still lives up to it being a democratic nation, and thus can have something to show during a summit like this?
Very much so. We have an independent judiciary, we have a functioning Congress, and we have an executive whose powers are patterned after the powers of the U.S. presidency.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Okay. So, USEC, Roque? Kung wala-
Secretary, wala na po mga tanong, Secretary.
Okay, maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat, sa inyong patuloy na pagsubaybay sa ating press briefing. Maraming salamat po sa ating mga kasama sa Malacanang Press Corps. Maraming salamat USEC, Roque. Maraming salamat kay Ambassador Romualdez, at sa ngalan po ng ating Presidente, Rodrigo Roa Duterte, ito pong yung Spox Harry Roque nagsasabi, antayin po natin ang bakuna. Hugas, iwas, at mask nang tayo po ay umabot sa bakuna. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat.